You bought the game and now you are already confused of what to do next since Granblue Fantasy Relink offers a substantial amount of features to explore. Not gonna lie, I wondered what would be the best things that I should be prioritizing to get the most of my time. So I decided to create a beginner's guide to help my fellow newbies so you will not have to waste so much time like I did, and I've been through it all and it is time for me to save your skin. In this video, we will be covering the best progression for beginners, what are the do's and don'ts, tips and tricks, and traps you should avoid, all that fun stuff, so you can have the best possible start in the game. The first tip that I have in mind is about elemental weaknesses. Just like in any JRPG, elemental weaknesses play a pivotal role when it comes to advantages in combat. However, elemental weaknesses in this game are more of a bonus, especially in the early stages of the game. You can beat the main story campaign without worrying about this, and I can attest to this since I've reached the hardest difficulties without changing my setup from start to finish. You could be stuck on figuring out the best team when starting the game to counter each element and end up wasting time instead of progressing. My first advice to you is just to use your first solid team to progress without thinking about their elements. I will be explaining in just a moment what a solid team means. Not just elemental weaknesses will not have a bearing, it's just that you should be worrying about this when reaching the highest difficulty. When starting in chapter 1, literally the game lets you access NPC side quests, and as the name implies, these are the quests that you can accept from NPCs in town. And also at this early, the quest counter will also be unlocked. It will probably cross your mind that you should be diving into this right away and grind, since you can do repeatable quests from the quest counter. While it may sound enticing, I highly suggest avoiding grinding at this point since you are trading your precious time for lower tier rewards or a few currencies. When you reach the end game, which is just 10 to 11 hours from the start of the game, you will be swarmed with tons of currencies and have easy access to higher grade gears and rewards. How to know when you are already at endgame? The endgame starts after you finish the final chapter of the game and the credits roll. Your main goal is to reach Veteran Skyfarer grade, which allow you to have access to extreme difficulty quests. There is a specific type of quest where you will be getting so many currencies and other items, which is going to be your main farming spot, which I will be discussing later on. My third tip for you is to form your first killer or staple team. How to do this? It's quite easy. Upon starting the game, use the starting characters to progress until chapter 4. Don't worry, as it is relatively easy to reach the said chapter and it will take a small amount of time. Now if you are still confused about which temporary team you will use Gran and Catalina for support characters and choose between Iyo, Yugen, and Rakam for DPS. Take this time to learn the mechanics, and after you reach chapter 4, the game will let you recruit your first optional character in the game. Sierra will provide you a free crewmate card to recruit an ally. You cannot miss this, it is part of the main story. This could be overwhelming at first since you will have a lot of options. The best pick for this is Cagliostro. She is an all-in-one support that can provide your party with substantial heal, critical condition revives, and attack, critical chance, and defense buffs. She is one of the best support out there and you can never go wrong by selecting her, and after you select Cagliostro, replace Catalina. Progress in the story until you receive another crewmate card, or check the quest counter from time to time since crewmate cards can also appear there as first clear reward, and you cannot miss this. After getting your second crewmate card, this is the time to finalize your team. I suggest selecting 2 pure DPS characters and 2 supporting characters. Personally, my first 4 are Narmaya and Zeta for the DPS characters and Gran and Cagliostro for support. However, I will not be advising Narmaya and Zeta as the first DPS characters since both of these characters are a little bit advanced in terms of playstyle and gameplay. But if you are new to the game or this is going to be your first ARPG title, I suggest choosing Lancelot or Charlotta. Both are strong DPS but fairly easy to use. They are both speedy and beginner friendly, especially in skill rotations. So you will have Charlotta and Lancelot for DPS characters, Gran for easy stuns, revives, heal as well, and damage mitigation skill, and lastly, Cagliostro for a dedicated healer, and revives. After getting another crewmate card by progressing in the story, I highly suggest getting Percival, and you can replace Gran if you wish, since in single player sessions, I find DPS characters a little bit underperforming, so I rely on their buffs instead. Percival can buff the party with his unique buff skill Flamin' Marsh, I hope that I pronounce it correctly, which increases attack and defense, which also stacks with Cagliostro's Phantasmagoria. So your main party will look like Charlotta, Lancelot, or other DPS if you wish, with Percival and Cagliostro. Of course, these are just my recommendations, and if you already have a team in mind, or if you want to use your favorites, by no means please follow them. I am simply providing my recommendations since there will be a lot of new players who have 0% knowledge about the game. Now that it's out of the way, let's move on to the fourth tip. My fourth tip in this guide is to focus on building your main carries first, or should I say farmers, after selecting your first 4 characters. It is highly recommended to focus your resources solely on your main team while progressing through the story. These resources are raw materials when upgrading weapons, rupees, which is the gold in this game, and mastery points. Note that all of these resources will be extensively scarce in the early game. Going back to the mastery points, on the other hand, you can only upgrade from time to time here since I have mentioned that it will be scarce, so focus on your main DPS first. Unlock more skills for your main, and the rest of the characters in your team will follow. Hang in there, and all of these resources will be abundant at endgame, and it's not far from your current progress. What are we doing here is we are trying to build a solid team to tackle endgame content as early as now, and it should be your highest priority. So don't spread your resources ever during the main storyline. When you raise them well enough, they are going to be your staple farmers at in-game content, and raising new characters will be 10 times much faster since you can just use your first 4 characters to farm currencies and materials later on. My fifth tip for you is don't hesitate to upgrade your weapons. This is tricky at first since you will be having thoughts when upgrading your current weapons by thinking there will be better weapons later on. But the real truth is, you will eventually max them all, and there will be certain masteries tied to each weapon. And to unlock them, you need to upgrade these weapons, and the higher the weapon level upgrade, the more nodes it unlocks. Of course, the weapons that you will be upgrading belongs to your first 4 characters. Focus on your strongest DPS first and max its weapon as high as you can. Just use whatever materials that the main campaign provides, and you will do fine. Make sure you explore every location that you will be visiting for hidden chests so you can have additional materials. And as I have mentioned, there is no need to grind. Moving on to the 6th tip, and this is all about sigils and rhinestones. Focus on progressing through the main story first rather than farming for sigils and rhinestones at early game. It is easy to be distracted if you shift your focus on sigils and rhinestones since they provide additional traits that can bolster your character's prowess. If you farm during the early stages of the game by spamming quests for the quest counter, you will be getting lower tier sigils and rhinestones in exchange of your precious time. The returns are simply not worth it in my opinion. The best sigils like tier 4s or tier 5 sigils, and even the best rhinestones will become easier to obtain at endgame through transmutation in Sierra's Knickknack shop. Or it can be traded with Dahlia badges in the same shop, and this special currency is easy to farm when you reach endgame by getting and completing quick quests from the quest counter. You will be sleeping on a mountain of sigils and rhinestones at endgame, so it is highly suggested to focus on completing the main story first before starting to mess with sigils and rhinestones. But before the next step, if you are into straight to the point guides, tips and tricks like this one, subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and it will tremendously help me a lot. Consider joining the Empire today and your support is greatly appreciated. Now on to the next step. For my 7th tip, keep your lower tier sigils and excess materials. When you are about to reach endgame, this is around chapter 8 to 10 or so, you will have excess materials and bunch of lower tier sigils. Since you only concentrated on your staple team, you're gonna have a lot of excess materials. A higher level of weapon upgrades before entering the endgame does require a lot of rupees. You can think that, hey, I should be selling these materials and lower tier sigils for some cash, but for the love of the universe, please don't be like me. Excess materials and unwanted sigils can be traded for knickknack vouchers in Tierra's shop later on, which nets more value than selling them for rupees, and I will be explaining this shortly. For my next tip, this is going to be the main reason why I have suggested skipping the grinding in the early game and doing it in endgame. After you progress significantly in the main story and complete it for the first time, your rank or Skyfarer grade will be upgraded to Veteran Skyfarer. As mentioned previously, you will have access to extreme difficulty quests at endgame. So after finishing the main story, you will be completing hard quests, very hard quests, and then eventually you will be reaching extreme difficulty quests. But one in particular stands out. Open the quest counter and you will be able to see extreme difficulty quests available for you and check out the Avia ships floating on the western side of the map. You will see that the quest Assault Formation is now available for you and go check it out. This quest will provide you the best returns in terms of almost every currency in the game. You will be drowning with XP, mastery points, Rafale coins, rupees, and technically sigils and rhinestones and other materials. I'm not going into the details of how to specifically farm in this quest since I made a specific guide for it, so be sure to watch it after this video. Link in the description. By farming constantly in this node, you will be reaching level 100 in no time, and this quest will help you solidify your staple team even faster for them to be ready for much higher difficulty quests. But the icing on the cake is you will also be getting a lot of mastery points if you do this, so you will have the chance to even progress your masteries 10 times faster. This whole picture right here is the main reason why farming at early game is not advisable. You can save a lot of time and also gain more rewards. For my 9th tip, I believe I have mentioned this a while ago. You should be taking advantage of Sierra's transmutation feature, and it is easy to get knickknack vouchers anyways, especially if you follow my currency and leveling guide that I mentioned before this tip. In just few runs of the Assault Formation quest, you will be getting a lot of excess materials, which are machine units and high-level scraps from this quest. After getting dozens of the said material, head to Sierra's shop and trade your high-level scraps and machine units for tons and tons of vouchers. After doing so, I believe you only have access to level 2 transmutation at this point, since you will have access to level 3 transmutation after reaching the rank of Zega Grande Legend. But the level 2 transmutation is enough for you to get higher tier level sigils and rhinestones. For just 10 vouchers, you can get a random rhinestones or sigil. At level 2 transmutation, you can get as high as tier 4 to 5 sigils. You can easily stockpile high tier sigils since replenishing the knickknack voucher is very easy to do so, thanks to the farming spot that I have mentioned. Repeat this process and eventually you will get the sigils and rhinestones that you want, or the ones that will match your character builds. It is so disgustingly easy to get more sigils by following this method. While following the method that I have suggested, one thing that I do want to mention is you can get more rupees as well by selling the glittering crystals that you can get from that quest. Down to the 10th tip, and the 10th tip is all about overmastery. Don't be too addicted to this feature since when a character reaches level 80, overmastery will be unlocked, which provides your character with additional random stat boost every time you spend your mastery points on it. As you can see, it kinda requires a lot of mastery points to begin with, and it is easy to be lost and just use your hard-earned mastery points while trying to aim better passives or additional stats and then get not so good passives, resulting in a huge waste of time. Before you do this, make sure to max out your offensive, defensive, and collectible masteries first, since there will be no RNG involved in it, and unlocking more sigil slots is also a priority in this case, so just take advantage of the overmastery features once you have already maxed out the other ones that I mentioned first. After everything is maxed, then it is the perfect time to aim for better passives in overmastery. Down to my 11th tip, which is taking advantage of reloading your saves or progress. I value my time the most, and I have discovered that I can easily reload my save to undo actions. First things first, go to your in-game settings and turn off your autosave feature and you are ready to go. You can take advantage of this if you have stacked 999 vouchers, save your progress, and use the vouchers by accessing the highest transmutation level. If you don't want the sigils and rhinestones that you have received from the gacha, load your progress, do a quest so you can reset the predetermined results from the transmutation. After the quest, save the game and try again. If you don't want the results, especially when accessing Transmarvel, repeat the mentioned steps until you get the ones you like. This method is useful when you are trying to aim for a specific sigil or just avoid bad luck entirely. It also works in Overmastery. Do the same method. Use the mastery points to get an Overmastery. If you don't want the results, follow the same steps that I mentioned. Finally, for the last tip, this is more of a basic feature, but a lot of players will tend to forget this feature, so it is nice to include it here. Fate episodes are really important as players can easily forget that they exist at times, as I have mentioned. Fate episodes does provide significant stat boosts and sigil slots. As soon as you complete the main scenario, watch every episode for your main characters before tackling endgame. You will be getting a significant boost, and it is indeed noticeable. These are the best things that I am considering as essential tips that you need to know to have the best start possible. I am having so much fun playing this game, and what do you think about these beginner tips? And as always, thank you for watching. Chat me in the comments how it is going for you, and if you find this video helpful, subscribe to the channel as I will be releasing more guides like these. Like the video to show your support, and if you are still on the fence about whether you will play this game or not, click the video here for my full review and also the best farming spot in the game, and I will see you on the next one.